Jennifer Griswold here, and we wanted to, as part of our effort with the Rebound Heartland, we are helping people rebound, move forward, and make sure they gain their footing as we navigate all of these very different times. So I'm joined now by some people in local business communities. We have Dan with Nebraska City Area Economic Development, Pam with Nebraska City Tourism and Commerce, and then Zach with Bennington Chamber of Commerce. Thank you so much for joining us for this discussion today. Again, people can write in questions. If you're joining us on Facebook, feel free to write a question you may have, and it's something we can address. Or, with some of this, if it's something very specific, or if it's specific to your community. Hi, says Lori, thanks so much. If it's something very specific to your community, let us know and we'll try to figure out a way to get you the resources you may need, or some of our people on this panel might be able to help us direct you of where it looks in their community and where you might be able to find it in your community too. We were talking a little bit before this got going, Pam and I were, just about how this time of year is typically a busy time of year when it comes to tourism, really. I don't know if that's something, Pam, you'd be able to address in Nebraska City. What are the types of events and tourism things you typically see spring into summer?
Well, we always look for tourism in many, many ways. We have a summer movie series that we usually put on downtown, and that's for our community members as well as people who are traveling. We're always inviting people from the different hotels that are here in Nebraska City. We invite them downtown just to see a free summer movie, but that's had been changed a little bit. It's been delayed just because of course, the number of people that we can have in the place that we have it. It's down in our sunken parking lot. Also, right now we're trying to get all of our museums open. We have 11 museums here in Nebraska City, and we love to have visitors here to see those. We've got some that are open. Our Arbor Day Farm is a huge draw for people, and they're of course having to postpone things a little bit as well. I just was visiting with Austin from Arbor Day Farm, and they're just kind of go by what Omaha and Lincoln are doing as well. So yes, our tourism, we really count on it. Our small businesses count on it as well. So we're looking forward to being able to open up again and have lots of tourists come and visit.
Yeah, Dan, when we're talking about moving forward and trying to make sure that we can adapt and make things work, what are some of the things communities and businesses are doing? Governor Ricketts has now said that more can reopen, but it's not as simple as just turning on a switch. There are a lot of rules and making sure people understand all of this. So, as how are communities moving forward and making sure the message is out there clearly?
Well, the rules are changing as we move forward, so you've got to pay attention to what the health directives are. Many businesses have had to rethink their actual business plan. Who would have thought that in Nebraska you could ever get a margarita at the curbside and to go? I don't think that's going to continue on, but I mean that was a big change in a way. Establishment that serve food and liquor would have to operate. Retail, the importance of the internet and having a good website with a solid way of selling your product has never been more important. So those things, I think we're all trying to figure it out on the fly, but we know that this is the biggest challenge that almost any of us have faced in our business careers, and we're having to move, be flexible and adapt as we go. I think the future, it may be more than a year until we have widespread availability of vaccines. But in the meantime, we've all got to feed our families and try to have a little fun. And with Nebraska City being a tourism destination, that part of it is really important to us.
At this point, is it a lot of looking forward then to maybe how you can do things in fall?
Well, I leave that to Pam on the chamber side. I'm on the economic development side. What I'm working on is really working hard on projects that we've been trying to recruit. Our organization joined the Omaha Chamber Economic Development Partnership last November. And so we collaborate with the economic developers in the Omaha metro area, including Cass County, Sarpy County, Washington, Pottawatomie County, and Dodge County. So we've got more resources and we're seeing more opportunities than we had in the past. So one of my ideas for a solution is to bring some more new high-paying jobs with good investment. That'll help if we could be successful in the short term. That'll help us in the long term.
Sure, sure. We're getting a question from someone, from Scott, saying, hello, I'm on the board of a private pool here in Douglas County. We're trying to keep our members up to date. What can we expect to hear from the directed health measure? I don't know if any of you wanted to weigh in on that. I can tell you, just from listening to the governor's news conferences every day, he did address swimming pools last week. That is part of the June 1st restrictions that have been changed. And I believe that is 25% occupancy or 25 people for swimming pools, whatever is greater. So is that your understanding as well? And Pam, I see you nodding.
Yes, that's correct. We get to have 115 people in our pool starting June 15th, which is kind of funny. So, you know, that's the way it's going to be for a while. So, yeah, at least we get to have the pool open. We get to have some ball games starting. So that'll help our businesses as well, because people will be traveling into Nebraska City, and we really count on that. We count on that a lot. And we are planning for the fall. We're still planning to have Applejack. That's our big fall festival, and there'll still be apples, whether we get to do all of the parades and all of that. We don't know, but we're working on it. Yes.
You know, you're talking about the numbers, and I have to believe that's part of the discussion of what is it worth it to reopen with that smaller capacity? Is that part of the discussions, or in some ways is it you're trying to reopen in whatever way you can to just generate some activity too?
No, that's been a huge part of the discussions. But it just seems like that's just good for our community. And that's what we're really working on is to help the community get some more things established. So it's what it is. And you know, I just think that things are going to be lifted gradually, but maybe by July we'll be able to have half capacity instead of 25% or whatever. So it'll be good.
Zach, you're at the Bennington Chamber of Commerce. Can you talk to us a little bit in meetings among different business owners? What would you say are some of the biggest concerns of business owners right now? What have the biggest concerns been, and then what are they now as we're moving forward a little bit?
Well, with our community, a lot of the main concerns have come in regards to restaurants and the brick and mortar establishments being able to continue to patronize them. It's taken some creative effort, but I think that we've fared very well in our community, and I think a lot of the businesses have fared very well as well. A lot of it has been letting people know safe and proper ways to still patronize the local businesses, safe ways to still order food to go from restaurants. And the impact, I think, has been minimal because the communication and information has been spread very well through our chamber and through our community. And Bennington's a town that's got a lot of pride, and we're very quick to jump up and support ourselves and support each other in times like this. We've seen some shift in roles. You know, obviously, a lot of what we do in the Chamber of Commerce is promote social activities and networking opportunities, along with the economic development and recruitment. So shifting online has been a big thing for that, and doing what we can with what we have has really been our kind of go-to adage for this.
Would you say you felt the need is there that much more in terms of more people are reaching out to the chamber, or the chamber's having to have more meetings and try to discuss moving forward? Is this kind of unprecedented in that way?
Yeah, I think that we've served as a good medium of communication between the community and our businesses. We've obviously been there as a resource for our local businesses as to what can we do, and what can we do to help you, and how can we help you stay open? How can we help you reach your customers to let them know that you are available and ready to provide their services? So the communication's kind of gone both ways, but we've definitely been very much promoting the local businesses to our community and making sure that they are aware that we're still here and that we still have creative ways to provide the services that are necessary. And I think that it's been a great community effort so far. It's been challenging, but we've seen a lot of great things come from this. I know personally I've seen a lot of support and a lot of the customer base really going out of their way to try and continue to support the local businesses. So that's been fantastic.
Yeah, and Dan, you were talking about a little bit too. I mean, when you start to think of like the trickle down effect or trickle up effect of we have people who maybe are losing their jobs, and then they're not spending as much, and then businesses aren't staying open, and then that affects a community. It's impacting so many people really on every level. And you were mentioning, trying to make sure that industries can grow and thrive in these communities. So is that, one thing of really trying to reach out to some of these maybe bigger companies or businesses that can maybe hopefully serve as a little bit of a crutch right now to help people get over this time?
Exactly. Whenever there's a big disruption in the economy, there's always opportunities created, although there are maybe not as great as the disparity of damage that many are facing, but everything connects to everything. So in the short term, almost every business is hurt in some way, unless maybe you're making masks and that sort of thing, or ventilators. But we need to, for the locals, particularly small businesses, conserve cash, make sure that you reduce costs as much as you can, but be prepared to turn the switch back on as best you can when things loosen up a little bit. People want to get out, or everybody's tired of being cooped up in their homes. We've been lucky in Otoe County. We've only had 6 cases. So it's relatively safe. Most of the people down here are playing by the rules. And our businesses need to be ready to take advantage of the loosening of the economy. Some of the stimulus money is still coming out. That went out to individuals. A good deal of that is still coming out. So there's more money flowing into it. If there's going to be a second or fourth stimulus package, I guess, that can be beneficial. But like you say, everything connects. It trickles up or trickles down. Local governments are going to be facing problems. The state governments are going to be facing problems. We've got to turn the switch on so money starts moving again as quickly as we can, providing we can do it as safely as we can.
Zach, you were talking about how people have been creative in making sure that they kind of stay afloat. Can you talk about some examples? Is it some of them like we talked about to-go alcohol and things like that? But talk about some ways that you've seen maybe the success stories of some businesses who've said, I got to find a different way to do something, and here's how I'm going to do it.
Well, obviously the restaurant industry has been pretty hard hit and impacted by this, and that was one of the areas where I've seen a lot of our local restaurants get very creative, offering the curbside to go with ordering, offering different types of specials, evening time things. A lot of our discussion has been where with the restaurants, where have you seen a slowdown in your business? Where have you been impacted the most? And what can we do to kind of help create some stir and some flow to get people back in? And again, a big part of it has just been communicating with the community on behalf of our members. Obviously, and this is a time where we can step up to the plate and where our chamber can do all we can to help promote the local businesses to the community, share any restaurant specials that they have going on, any, lawn and landscaping was part of that trickle down effect. Those are the types of businesses that might be seeing a little bit of a shortfall and compared to last year where people are just kind of putting money away. So we've been helping to, generate new customers or types of specials that these businesses can use to, hopefully continue to see the regular volume or at least a decrease in the loss of volume that you would normally have for this time of year and in our area. One of the big impacts has been, the lack of spring sports, which is great for people being out in the community. So we've been trying to create other things. We've had some cruise nights in Bennington, which is great for the small towns. It gets people out, it gets people excited. And it's an opportunity for us to kind of promote some of our local businesses who are sponsoring some of those events and keep them at the forefront of the mind of our customers in our community.
We have some questions just to regroup for people who are tuning in. I'm Jennifer Griswold with 3 News Now, and this is part of our Rebound Heartland series where we are asking local experts in different fields to join us to have a discussion and field questions from viewers. So I'm joined by Pam with Nebraska City Tourism and Commerce, Dan with Nebraska City Area Economic Development Corporation, and Zach Johns with Bennington Chamber of Commerce, who's also a small business owner himself. Someone had asked who everyone was, so I just wanted to make sure that we were up to date on some of that information. If someone is tuning in and they own a small business and they're wondering, what do I do? What do I do now? I'm really feeling the pinch. I'm struggling quite a bit. Obviously, it's different for different communities, but what is your recommendation for how they move forward? Who do they reach out to? What resources do they try to get? We don't want anyone to feel alone. So what's the best plan of action for them to move forward?
Well, I'll jump in if I may.
Sure.
If they have a banking relationship, that's one of the first places to start. The bank's got to know the truth. You don't want to have the banker call you when your checks are starting to bounce. They kind of like a heads up before it gets that bad. There's a possibility with many lenders to renegotiate the terms of your loan, to push payments back, to give you some breathing room in between. That's true also with landlords. Landlord that you've got a good relationship with and wants to keep you certainly understands that if you don't have any revenue coming in, you can't pay rent. But he may end up with that building sitting empty if he tries to kick you out. But if you can work something out. There also SCORE is a resource that has a lot of resources online, a lot of training online right now. There's a good SCORE chapter in the Omaha metro area. And that's all free. You don't have to pay for that. And anything you disclose to the SCORE volunteer is confidential. Those would be some places that I would start when talking to small business owners. Pam just sent somebody over to me a few minutes before this started, and I'll be talking to her tomorrow. There's a restaurant owner that is just trying to figure out what to do next. They've started to run down the checklist of what they need to do, and so I'm going to help her take a look at what to do when we get ready to reopen.
Obviously, there's been some discussion and political debate about, how to reopen, what's the best way, all of that. But, as we reopen, it seems every time something reopens, I know I get some feedback from people saying, nope, I'm not ready, I'm afraid to, that type of thing. If there's an event going on or there's a business reopening and someone wants to maybe go, but they're fearful because it's been kind of a long haul of not doing those things, I'm assuming businesses are prepared and ready to answer the questions. If someone were to call and say, hey, what safety measures are you taking? Maybe that's a call you make instead of just saying, I don't want to go. You could call, or if there's an event going on, you could call an area group and say, how are you making sure to keep it safe? I'm assuming businesses might be getting some of those questions, and that's just fine. Open up the communication. I mean, are you, Pam, are you getting, as people are talking about events and things, wondering, oh, how are you going to do that? How are you going to manage it?
Right, absolutely. They're calling us and asking us questions, and we're trying to do some fun things. We just are going to start doing a Facebook Lives where we're doing small reopening ribbon cuttings, just to put that online, let people see that, like, our bowling alley is reopening on Tuesday. And so we're going to have a little ribbon cutting, but it's just one of us from our office who's going out there, and they are going to, talk to the owner, get a little bit of information, and put people at ease so they can see that things are reopening. And the business owners are, what we're planning is for them to give us a little bit of information so we can post that and make people feel at ease. Let them know that it's going to be safe, and there are restrictions. Not everybody, can come at the same time, but I think that's going to help a lot. We've had some really creative things that we've done as well. And we're still working on it. We want people to feel comfortable. And so that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, it is something where we're all kind of in it together. I know this phrase has been used a lot, but the people who are figuring out and planning, and the business owners, everyone is really in the same boat. Everyone's going through this together. So, right, people just need to open up lines of communication in the best ways to help and to do things. Zach, any other questions you're receiving from people? You're talking a lot about springtime events and things like that. What about moving forward this summer? Is there a lot being discussed on things starting to reopen now in the Bennington community?
Yes, there is, and it's happening rather quickly, which is okay. We've all grown accustomed to quick shifts with all of the changes that we've had to make over the last couple of months. We're really excited to know that we'll be able to start baseball and softball, and those summer sports will be able to kick off real soon. That'll be a really big key for us getting back to that feeling of normal. Of course, we'll have some other things that we'll feel the vacancies of. For instance, Bennington Days has been canceled, or it's going to be changed from what we're used to having here in Bennington this year. We won't have our usual parade. We won't be able to do a lot of those carnival type things. And so we've done some shifting. We usually have a really great car show. So instead of having a stationary car show like we do every year on Main Street, we're going to have a kind of like what we call a cruising car show, where the car show is going to drive around town, and people will still be able to find ways to enjoy those things. And we'll still be able to do our best to accommodate the fun times that we normally have during Bennington Days, but it's going to look very different this year. And that's something that's obviously impactful to our local businesses, because we do enjoy and rely on those outside visitors during certain times of the year to help see some spikes in local retail sales and local restaurant sales. So we'll be working with some of those changes and those shifts, but it's really just about being able to take it as it comes. And once everybody's able to reopen, there's going to be a certain sense of responsibility both ways. I think you're going to be able to see our local businesses have done a lot to prepare and get ready for the reopening of dining rooms, the reopening of lobbies and things like that. And it's kind of a two-way street. We also ask that the patrons take the opportunity and the time to familiarize themselves with the new health department regulations, both from the state and local, and that when entering a business, take the proper precautions and proper responsibilities to ensure your own safety and the safety of others around you.
I think to close, thank you so much, all giving very, very helpful information. I think to close, I'll pose one last thing of, I think as Nebraskans, everyone takes a lot of pride in where they're from, especially, maybe I shouldn't say especially, but it seems like especially with the smaller communities, there's a lot of pride there. So if someone is watching and they're wondering, what can I do to help my community move forward? What would be your piece of advice to them that you know, with the we can all make a small difference. How can people make a difference? What can they do? I'll start with Dan.
Spend a little money locally. Support your local businesses first. It's so important. Even I've seen lots of communities do gift card pushes to try to get people to buy gift cards that they can use in the future that gives the business cash now to try to keep them open. Yeah, if you want to have a viable business sector in a small community, you got to support it. And if you don't, then it'll just go away. So that's the first thing I would say.
All right, Pam, what about you?
I was totally agreeing with Dan. Support your local businesses. I know there's a lot of things where you want to just shop online, but it's so good because you can shop online locally as well. And we've done some chamber bucks pushes. Those are things that you can buy ahead and use locally. And that's just shop local, stay local, and support your businesses, because you know those people. You go to church with those people, and you know your kids are in school together. So you need to shop local.
Zach, what about you?
I would absolutely echo what they both said. Our motto with the Bennington Chamber is to think local, buy local, and enjoy local. And doing all those things so impactful in your local community in so many different ways. As Pam said, supporting your neighbors, supporting the people in your community, supporting your school districts. All of those things are a part of just putting that local mindset first. And you know, in situations like this, my personal philosophy is exercise caution, be smart, and keep calm and try to carry on.
Good advice there. Thank you to all of you so much. We really appreciate you taking part in this, and we hope we're helping people move forward in this, because you know we're all in this together. We're all experiencing a lot of the same things. So thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.